Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today, ladies and gentlemen, it must have been a slow weekend over the weekend for the media. But of course, now that Donald Trump is in office, they do like going for the doom and gloom, the knee-jerk reaction, as we always talk about here on the BuzWeaver channel. So here we have from the New York Post, will Trump's tariffs cancel Christmas? Chinese makers of decorations report no orders. Now, you may have seen many viral videos of what's going on there in China, but of course they are going to be the toughest to deal with because of course in their culture with face, they don't want to look as though they are losing face by capitulating or looking like they are appealing to Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form. It is quite fascinating, the cultural differences, but it will harm them quite a bit, and we're seeing those viral videos across the internet. And even if it's coming out of China, it's got to be brutally bad. Has Trump canceled Christmas? Chinese decoration makers report no U.S. orders. What? U.S. tariffs to lead to price surge for Christmas decorations. Chinese producers still waiting for U.S. Christmas orders, and many factories worried about losing crucial U.S. business, but also they're setting them on fire. There is also news out of China. People are getting upset. There's rioting. But of course, China being China, the CCP keeps all this under control. So from Shouxing, China, Chinese producers of plastic Christmas trees and other festive decorations say orders from U.S. cities, which are crucial for their business, should have started to come in by now. But because of surging import tariffs, they haven't. U.S. President Donald Trump has raised tariffs on Chinese imports by 104%. So far this year in an escalating trade war that threatens great pain for the world's largest exporter of manufactured goods. And of course that does. But let's take a listen from Reuters.
Chinese producers of plastic Christmas trees and decorations expressed worry on Wednesday. That's as US President Donald Trump's tariffs took effect, including 125% duties on Chinese goods. China's Christmas industry said on Wednesday that orders from the US have slowed, with both sides cautious about the risk of import tariffs rising further. These tariffs are the latest step in an escalating trade war that threatens great pain for China, the world's largest exporter of manufactured goods. US retailers are almost completely reliant on the country for Christmas decorations, sourcing 87% of their goods here. Chinese factories are also heavily dependent on the US market, where they sell half of what they make. Li Bo, a product developer at Jiasong Craft Factory, said before the latest tariff hike, US clients asked his company to ship as early as possible. Now, he says, these clients haven't rushed for products and are in a wait-and-see phase. China's 84% retaliatory tariff on US goods came into effect on Thursday. That's up from the previously announced 34%. American Christmas Tree Association's Jamie Warner said she's concerned as tariffs ramp up.
We're really not sure how the consumer is going to react to this, but with prices will definitely double for all of our products.
And of course, there's going to be products coming out of China. So, of course, we can always buy locally, buy American, and we have lots of choices and lots of options. But, of course, when it comes to the media, they're always going to be very selective. The media and, of course, the Democrats and the left. They're going to be very selective with how they present their news and how they present their ideologies, philosophies, and concerns, because they do like to doom and gloom a lot of things. And, of course, this is something we could have anticipated or were anticipating to happen once Donald Trump came into office, because that's the way the machine works. That's the way the establishment uniparty works. They have to coordinate against Donald Trump to make everything look as though there's a lot of doom and gloom. And although there's a lot of good happening, they prefer to nitpick on certain things like these types of topics. Will Trump's tariffs cancel Christmas, as they say here? And then Chinese producers of plastic Christmas trees and other festive decorations, as we saw earlier. President Trump has raised tariffs on China, and U.S. retailers are almost completely reliant on China. See, this is a concern. We learned this from COVID. Remember, when it came to masks, when it came to antibiotics, when it came to other medicines, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, it's concerning. I mean, they're talking 87% of these particular goods, and I think it's I don't know what the actual percentage is of our pharmaceuticals, but it's very high, and that's very, very concerning. So while people may want to complain about the tariffs, but then again, what about the other 170 countries that are issuing tariffs on us? I mean, it's an interesting little game, isn't it? And I see this a lot when I'm on TikTok as well, as people try to point out the economic problems as a result of this, but they rarely ever point out the fact that it's happening, that these countries are also doing it as well. So Trump tariffs, EU pauses countermeasures until July. So the EU said the bloc would hold off on retaliatory tariffs to allow time for negotiation. Meanwhile, Chinese President Xi Jinping, said there are no winners in trade wars. DW has more. And this is the latest news that I could find. This is a German publication. So this was the most I could see, because I did get a news break there earlier about Xi Jinping. It says the EU has confirmed a pause on retaliatory tariffs as negotiations progress. Chinese President Xi Jinping said there are no winners in the trade wars ahead of a visit to Vietnam. Markets were stable, aimed at tariff exemptions, announced for some electronics. Japan says Trump's tariffs threaten to disrupt global order. Now, of course, we also saw from Donald Trump that he was going to make concessions on, or make certain exemptions on certain products out of China. A lot of those electronic goods, as like cell phones, PCs, televisions, these sorts of things. He was going to make an exception to these rules. Then, of course, here we're seeing, Trump tariff wars have no winners, says Chinese president. There are no winners in trade wars and custom wars, and protectionism has no way out. And then we have Xi Jinping here, and I guess it's him on state TV, also on state TV there in China. Of course, the Chinese never get to see our news here, but a lot of things here on Xi Jinping. I guess a few little glowing articles and attention to detail. Here's DW here. As we were just talking about, he's on his way. So Xi's on his way to Japan, on his way to Vietnam. And so it's very interesting. You guys have to let me know down in the comments, has any of this had an impact on you? Have you noticed changes in your gas prices, egg prices, and general prices as your shopping has improved? I know bills are about the same as well right now, but as far as overall concerns about Christmas, I guess the media is jumping on this super early. I mean, we're only here in April at the moment, where it looks like the Dow's up, and so those are positive things. So we're going to see some really interesting things happen. And we knew it was going to be. It had to be changed. These changes had to be made. It's a little bit of pain in the short term for better in the long term. So, of course, but I do want to appreciate all your guys' continued support. That's BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, and those watching on TikTok as well. Thank you so much for your guys' continued support. And, of course, below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to include X, as you see right up here. And you guys can follow me there. And, of course, I have my affiliate marketing links there for Amazon. So if you're a Prime member or order frequently from Amazon, my landing page link is there. It has your privacy in mind, so you can order with no issues. And, of course, it does help out the channel. And, of course, VPN, talking about being online and having privacy. VPN Trust Zone is one of my favorites. So if you guys want to check that out, absolutely my favorite when it comes to VPNs. But I do want to thank all of you guys, because of you have been so supportive in 2025, especially all of you guys here on YouTube. So I want to thank all of you guys for your continued support. And appearing there on the screen, that would be the channel icon here on YouTube. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.